Let's not forget Queensland, as I nearly did, the shenanigans there. Borders are closed in a state where unemployment is close to the worst in the country, which I think is just ridiculous. It's like that state has suddenly forgotten that so much of what we see about us, the electricity, the hospitals, the police and all that, the welfare, the power supply, has got to be paid for. But what I find also stupid is how some energy companies are going to water in Queensland against another attack on the state's wealth. This one's from the Greens there. Now, like the Greens everywhere, they hate coal and gas. In fact, the official aim of the Queensland Greens is to phase out existing thermal coal mines and coal exports, which only happen to earn us billions of dollars. So you would think that with an election coming up in just 4 weeks, that coal miners at least would see they're in a war to the death with the Greens. It's them or the Greens. Only one can survive that contest. But corporate Australia is weak. And the coal miner BHP plus the gas company Origin have suspended their membership of the Queensland Resources Council because the council has got political. It said that Queenslanders should vote for a virus recovery, they should put jobs first, and the Greens last. Joining me is Queensland National Senator Matt Canavan, the former Resources Minister. Matt, BHP does not want to ask Queenslanders to vote the Greens last, even though the Greens want to wipe out their coal mines and exports. Why?
Well, you'll have to ask BHP that question, Andrew, but it does disappoint me greatly because I bust a gut to try and fight the Greens who want to shut down industries in my region, in central Queensland. I'm here at CocoBrew, owned by a great local businessman, Robin. It's the only whiskey bar in Rockie, not to make you jealous down there in Victoria, but when you're out of lockdown, you have to come up and join me up here. But this business relies on having strong industries like coal in our region. And it disappoints me when a company based a long way from here doesn't want to fight for its own workers and its own people and the regions it operates in. And the question why really does perplex you because it's their industry, it's their business. Why aren't they fighting the Greens? And you can only sort of suggest maybe it's because they seem to be run from London these days and the activist shareholders there. Maybe there's deals being done behind the scenes that we don't know about. But it absolutely beggars belief that an industry won't stand up for itself and fight against a political party, the Greens, that want to put it out of existence.
It's just insane to me. The Greens want BHP dead. And the Greens say, we don't dare say don't vote for the Greens. It's like they're embarrassed by the very product that they're making their billions on. I find it just inexplicable. By the way, talking about
when you won't fight for yourself, how are others going to fight for you? Yep.
Why should they? Yeah, exactly, except it's in all our interests to keep the lights on. Has Labor, you're up in Queensland, obviously, election coming. Has Labor up there learned its lesson from the last federal election, though? You had Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk giving the green light to a new $1 billion coal mine in central Queensland, Pembroke Resources Olive Downs project. That's after the federal Labor Party lost the last election in Queensland by being ambivalent at best and negative at worst about the Adani coal project.
Well, Andrew, I'll just slightly correct you there. The Palaszczuk government has not given the green light to the Olive Downs project. It's at best an amber light. They tried to say that it was a green light, but a few days later it came out that they'd only actually issued a few of the mining licences for that project because some others are still in court. Yes, see, right. This is all just a pantomime. We've seen Anastasia Palaszczuk in the last 2 weeks go to a coal mine, announce a deal with Adani, so-called approve that project you mentioned, but in reality they're still hiding an anti-coal government. Today in the Courier Mail it's revealed that the Queensland government has actually established what they call a just transition group, and that group is to oversee, in the Labor Party's own words, oversee pooled redundancies in the coal mining industry and put coal miners out of work in what they call, in some Orwellian description, just transition. As the CFMEU can see through this rubbish, Andrew. I mean, they say, well, what's a coal miner going to just transition to? He's hardly going to become a barista. He needs a job, she needs a job in an industry that they have got skills in, that they do well at. And it just shows the Labor Party, mate, this policy, this just transition policy, it was actually developed by the International Trade Union Confederation in Brussels. And the Labor Party was founded here in central Queensland in Barcaldine in the 1890s. And it's taken them 130 years, but they've gone all the way from Barcaldine to Brussels, and they no longer represent us here.
Just very quickly, Matt Canavan, like I said, you know, Labor lost the last federal election in Queensland, and one event actually typified that. There was when hundreds of people at the Claremont pub gathered to boo an anti-Adani coal mine protest led by former Greens leader Bob Brown, that convoy there. Now, you had a Back to Claremont rally on the weekend. Clive Palmer spoke. Just 100 people turned up. Does that mean the issue is dying?
Absolutely not, Andrew. Obviously, COVID limited numbers. There was probably about a couple of hundred there. In fact, the ABC reported 100, but it was a good turnout, mate, in a small town. And it was a celebration. It was a celebration of what has been achieved. The Adani project now is happening. Claremont is booming. Hotels are booked. The pubs are going well. There's over 1,500 people at that mine. Claremont is the closest town to it, although a long way away. And you know, we went back out there to try and now get something like the new Ackland mine going, where the Palaszczuk government is holding up this project for 13 years. There are 500 coal miners down there west of Toowoomba who don't know whether they'll be able to afford Christmas presents this year because their project is in limbo. It's in limbo thanks to Green activists taking it to court. The Palaszczuk government won't act. The LNP has said, we'll approve it. We'll approve it straight away. And so if your viewers support jobs, as there's only one party backing those, as you said, with a state with the highest, which has had the highest unemployment rate in the country, why don't we get behind Bob, get behind jobs? We took Bob back out to Claremont on the weekend. I think he's in the background there somewhere, mate. He's come to the whiskey bar
Bob
with us too. He's very
out.
popular. He's very popular up here.
Last time I saw it was getting a bit frayed from all the travel. Good on you, mate.
Oh, that's
Matt
from all the hugs and kisses he's getting, mate. Yeah.
Good on you, Matt Canavan.
No worries, Andrew.